Alright guys, I literally just finished filming the Western semifinal. Now moving on to the Eastern semifinal just to get this all finished. It is now 1:37 a.m. that I'm filming this. Anyway, so Eastern Conference semifinals, BC Lions versus Hamilton and Tiger Cats. So let's start with their records. The BC is 9-9, and then their record away is 2-7, which obviously is not the greatest. Hamilton is 8-10. And at home they're 4-5. So obviously Hamilton has the better record at home. I mean, like, they have the better record than BC does away, because away BC has not been that good. So I definitely feel Hamilton has the edge just by the home and away records. But you cannot. It's the playoffs. You can never count someone out. Like, you can't just say, oh yeah, you know what? The Sens have a better record than the Leafs, and they have home ice, so the Sens are gonna win. You can't. No. It's not like that. I know I just compared NHL to hockey, or NHL to CFL, but you know what I mean, yeah. So BC is 4th place in the West Division, while Hamilton's record is worse than BC's, and they're 2nd place in the East. But the West has always been, like, tougher, though. So points scored / points allowed. By the way, this video should nowhere be as long as the BC Saskatchewan, or as the Winnipeg Saskatchewan one, but yeah. So points scored, points allowed. Hamilton, points scored 513. And then 456 points allowed, while BC has 423 points scored, 473 points allowed. So 50 more points allowed than scored, which is not good. Hamilton's is decent, a 513 to 456 ratio, not too bad. Now moving into the season series, it's 1-1. The first game was September 22nd in BC, where Hamilton lost 35-32 in overtime. And do not even get me started in that game. I was ranting about that in my one CFL video. I'm not going to get into that. Let's just say Hamilton should have won. They effed up, and a loss. The next game, though, they played BC again exactly a week later, but in Hamilton. Hamilton definitely redeemed himself by winning 40-10. And BC also learned not to step on Hamilton's logo and stomp on it, because that's what happens when you do so. So some quick facts, or some quick hits about the Eastern semifinal. So Hamilton has hosted a home playoff game for the 5th time in 6 years. Hamilton owns a 27-17.614 home playoff record, which is pretty good. BC has an 11-23 3.24 percentage road playoff record. So Hamilton already has the advantage here based on away records for BC this year and home records for Hamilton this year and all time. This is the 5th time BC has crossed over into the East Division, 2014, 2009, 2003, and 1997. Hamilton hosted BC in 2009 at the Eastern semifinal, where the Lions defeated the Tiger Cats 34-27 in overtime. The two teams met twice this season in back-to-back weeks. In Week 15, BC completed a comeback to beat Hamilton 35-32 in Vancouver. Again, do not get me started on that, or else I'll start ranting for an hour. The following week, Hamilton split the series by beating the Lions 40-10. The two teams met in the 73rd Grey Cup in Montreal in 1985, where the Lions were victorious 37-24. BC Lions coach Wally Buono has 18 career playoff wins, 2nd all-time behind Frank Clare, 22. This will be the 23rd playoff appearance for Wally as a coach in 25 years coaching, which is insane. 23 playoff after 25 years, that's insane. So now going on to a bit of stats. So, head-to-head, who has the edge in the Eastern semifinal? So the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the BC Lions split their season series this year, and there's lots of bad blood between the two clubs that traditionally have had a little in the way of a rivalry. Despite the second game being a blowout win for the Tiger Cats, on paper these two teams match up about as close as their first meeting played out, a BC win in overtime. Again, you're not going to be started on that. Both teams have quarterbacks that have shut down outside noise and silenced critics. Both have athletic playmakers in the secondary, and both have playmakers in the backfield that could change the makeup of a game with one huge gain. Perhaps most importantly, it is a matchup of one of the league's most dominant pass rushes, BC versus a quarterback in Jeremiah Masoli that has taken over as the face of his franchise. CFL.ca breaks down who has the edge in the Eastern semifinal between the Ticats and Lions, position by position. So quarterbacks, The Lions made a second half surge to the playoffs and would not have done so without the rejuvenated Travis Lulay. That said, despite recent hiccups, Jeremiah Masoli is the straw that stirs the Ticats' drink, and his ability to stretch the field and make plays with his feet is something that few opponents can match. Masoli and the Ticats' offense prides itself on quick strikes and taking their shots when the opportunity presents itself. The advantage goes to the Hamilton Ticats. Running backs. Two teams, two very difficult backs. Two very different backs. The arrival of Tyrell Sutton has given the Leos a physicality to their run game that was missing before, and in a stadium where wind often makes offenses hesitant to stretch the field, his ability to clash with linebackers such as Larry Dean makes for an even matchup. Of late, Sutton has been the more dominant back, but Alex Green's production in such a small sample size cannot be ignored. Green is an explosive back that can attack the boundary, and once he is in the open field, very difficult to corral. The advantage there is push, which is once again tied. Receivers. This positional outlook has essentially been decided for us. The Ticats are without Brandon Banks, Chris Williams, and Jalen Saunders, and will look to Luke Tasker and Mike Jones to carry the load. The Ticats have lost bodies, but the Lions have added, most notably in the way of Grey Cup MVP Devere Posey, who joins a Brian Burnham-led BC corps. So the advantage for that is BC. Moving on to the offensive line. These two units are almost identical in sacks allowed, and after some midseason shuffling have had a consistent group protecting the quarterback and opening up holes for a number of weeks now. The Leos have two physical tackles in Joel Figura, I don't know, and Jovan Olafioi, that. Mike Filer and Brandon Revenberg give the Ticats an interior that is as good as any in the league. It's hard to differentiate between these two offensive lines, so once again the advantage is push. So a tie. The defensive line. The Lions' defensive line has been nothing short of spectacular, especially since the arrival of Rush and Sean Lemon. The 9-1-1 combo of he and Odell Willis have made life for opposing quarterbacks miserable. Although the opposition boasts the inside presence of Ted Laurent, the aforementioned Lions bookends, along with DT Devon Coleman, all sit in the top 10 in QB sacks, combining for 30. The advantage goes to BC. Linebackers. This one is very close. Even with Solomon Elamimian sidelined, the Lions backers have impressed. Mika Aw has solidified that group, but this one was a swing vote until considering Don Unamba. Quick on the blitz and physical against the run, Unamba is also as good as any cover Sam linebacker in the CFL. The advantage goes to Hamilton. And just a heads up, guys, my furnace is turning on, so you're going to hear a bunch of air in the background. Moving on to defensive backs. The Lions may have the most underrated defense back group in the league. This group defines ball hawk with the likes of Anthony Orange and Winston Rose, lurking with their 10 interceptions combined. The Ticats have had some busts in recent weeks, but they get on an even field when you consider what they have. When you consider they have what many believe is the most consistent shutdown defensive backs in the game in Delvin Breaux, and the advantage is tied, is a push. The return game, before I even start this, Brandon Banks is gone. He's not going to be in for Hamilton anymore. He's gone. He's injured, which really sucks because he was one of the best players. Like him and Jeremiah Masoli always clicked, and now I feel that's a huge loss, and it's really devastating. Really, right now, right before the playoffs, that has to happen. So the return game, it just takes one return to either change a game or put Travis Lulay in excellent field position. And after a mid-season reset, Chris Rainey is the best at doing both of those things between these two teams. No disrespect to Ticats DB Frankie Williams, but Rainey has just been too good for too long, not to give the Leos the edge. So the advantage obviously goes to BC for that. And the kicking game. And by the way, if Brandon Banks was there, I would say it's push, because then Rainey is basically Banks, and Banks is basically Rainey, just on different teams. So the kicking game is going to go to the advantage is to BC. So some criticized Ticats Liam Hiralahu in the first meeting between these two teams. Yeah. In the first meeting between these two teams, but when looking at the entire year, he has had a pretty solid campaign. Lions kicker Tai Long has not. In fact, he has had a spectacular season, especially in the punting game. Both kickers are hovering around the 86% field goal conversion mark, but Long leads the league in punting yards, and his powerful leg could be a difference maker as the wind swirls at Tim Hortons Field. So the advantage, as I just said a minute ago, goes to BC. So let me just talk a little bit about it. So like Hamilton and BC, I don't even know who has the advantage just in general, because Hamilton, like both, like when you look at playoff matchups, it's always like really close, and you can never really like choose someone, like even for certain categories in the game, like you have to choose push, because like you never know. Like it's just really hard to tell. And then the wind at Tim Hortons Field will definitely be a factor. The wind is always a factor. The weather is going to be a factor. It's going to be cold. It's going to be nail-biting cold most likely, and it's just going to be cold. And for all we know, it might snow that day. We're in Canada. It might snow. It's November. So it's just, I don't know, like. And by the way, so Liam Hiralahu missed a field goal, a last-second field goal to win the game for Hamilton against Montreal. And if it comes down to it, Hamilton cannot miss that field goal against BC in this last game. Like they cannot do that. One missed kick can cost them from a trip to the Eastern Final. And to be honest, I have not seen Hamilton in the playoffs for like 1 to 2 years now, because they obviously missed it last year. And now to see them 8-10, it is nice to see them in the playoffs, of course. But now I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, like, are they going to be any good? They don't have Brandon Banks. Liam Hiralahu lost the potential game-winning field goal. At first, I thought it was like 20 yards out, but it turned out to be 43 yards out, so yeah. But anyway, guys, I have no idea who to choose. Just like Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, it's going to be a toss-up. It should be a great one here in Hamilton. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be it's going to be amazing to watch. It's going to be lit. It's just going to be fun. If you can watch it, I definitely recommend you watch it. If you don't have time, then definitely catch the highlights. Definitely keep watching the score. You'll damn right bet I'm going to be watching these two games. Again, I have a booked that day off of work, so I don't miss the game. And plus, if I was working that day, then I'd be dealing with all the thingies, because if there's a Ticat game, then we're going to have a lot of people at my work. I still have not mentioned where I work, but let's just say if I work that day, there's going to be a lot of people going there. Anyway, I will say the advantage goes once again to the home team, ever so slightly, just because Hamilton's at home, and because, and I will say Hamilton has the advantage because BC has not been good on the road, and and both teams are riding losing streaks right now, so you never know what's going to happen. BC lost 2 in a row. Hamilton lost 5 in a row. This one's going to be a close one. It's going to be a toss-up. And hopefully Hamilton can do what they did in Hamilton last time, 40-10. Let's hope they can get a nice dominant performance. Not going to happen. But let's just hope that they get the victory. The next time you see me, I may just be talking about how Hamilton's out of the playoffs. I may just be talking about how BC sucked and how Hamilton's in the Eastern Final playing against Ottawa. I don't know. But by the way, so the Eastern Final is going to be played next Sunday. It's going to be played in Ottawa. That game is going to be the Eastern Final, Sunday, November 18th at 1 p.m. Blank at Ottawa. It's going to be either BC or Hamilton in Ottawa playing that game. The Western Final is going to be blank at Calgary, Sunday, November 18th at 4:30 p.m. The winner, either Winnipeg or Saskatchewan, will play Calgary. So it makes me nervous, because even if Hamilton wins against BC, then they have Ottawa to beat, and then they may just be stuck playing Calgary. And right now, I just see that as a tough road ahead. I don't know if the Ticats can do it. I really don't know. But yeah, you have to be positive. I mean, they made the playoffs. They didn't last year. They bounced back. They're playing a home playoff game. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? Like, let's just go for it. Go Cats, go! May the best team win. Good luck for both teams in the Western semifinal and the Eastern semifinal. And here we go, we're in the playoffs. Let's do this. I hope you guys like this video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to share this video with your friends. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.